Sometimes, fate works in the most unexpected ways. It was a cold morning when a passerby noticed something unusual near the riverbank. A small, frail dog lay motionless in the dirt, its ribs barely covered by thin, matted fur. It had no strength left to bark, no energy to move, just a faint rise and fall of its chest, clinging desperately to life. But what happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. The person who found the dog, a woman named Lisa, was on her way to work when she noticed the small figure curled up in the mud. At first, she thought it was a discarded piece of fabric, but as she stepped closer, she realized the heartbreaking truth. The dog's eyes barely flickered open as she knelt beside it. It had been abandoned, left to fend for itself in the harsh elements. Lisa's heart clenched. She reached out, her hands trembling as she gently stroked the dog's head. It didn't flinch, too weak to react. She immediately knew she couldn't leave it there. With careful movements, she wrapped the shivering dog in her scarf and cradled it against her chest. But Lisa wasn't a veterinarian or an expert in animal care. She was just an ordinary woman with a deep love for animals. She rushed home, hoping to nurse the fragile creature back to health. However, she quickly realized that love alone wouldn't be enough. The dog needed medical attention, urgently. Lisa wasted no time and drove straight to the nearest animal clinic. The vet, Dr. Martinez, took one look at the dog and shook his head solemnly. "This little one has been through a lot," he murmured, running his hands over the dog's frail body. It was severely dehydrated, malnourished, and covered in sores. The prognosis wasn't good. "He's not just starving, he's on the brink of organ failure," Dr. Martinez explained. "We need to get fluids in him immediately, and even then, we can't guarantee he'll pull through." Lisa's heart sank, but she refused to give up. She stayed by the dog's side as the vet and his team administered 4 fluids, carefully warming its body and monitoring its vitals. Hours passed, and still, the dog remained unresponsive. Lisa whispered words of encouragement, hoping the dog could hear her. "You're not alone anymore. You're safe now." The fight wasn't over, but it was the first step in a long road to recovery. Days turned into weeks. The dog, whom Lisa had named Oliver, was still incredibly weak, but small signs of improvement began to show. At first, it was just the faintest wag of a tail when she entered the room. Then he managed to lift his head, gazing at her with eyes that no longer looked hollow and lost. Lisa documented every little milestone. His first voluntary sip of water, the moment he attempted to stand, the first time he leaned against her, trusting her presence. It was a painstaking journey, but Oliver was proving that he had the heart of a fighter. There were setbacks too. Some days, Oliver would refuse to eat. Other times, he'd shake uncontrollably, his body still adjusting to proper nutrition. But Lisa never lost hope. She worked with specialists, learning about physical therapy for dogs and the best diet to help him regain strength. And then, one day, something miraculous happened. It was early in the morning when Lisa took Oliver outside for some fresh air. He had always been hesitant, his tail tucked between his legs, as if he still feared the world around him. But that day was different. The moment his paws touched the grass, something clicked. He took a step forward, then another. And then, for the first time since she'd found him, he ran. Not a weak, stumbling shuffle, but a real, joyful run. Lisa watched in stunned silence as Oliver bounded across the yard, his tail wagging furiously. Tears welled in her eyes. It was the moment she had been waiting for, the moment Oliver truly came back to life. Months later, Oliver was no longer the frail, helpless dog Lisa had found by the river. His fur had grown thick and healthy, his body strong and energetic. He had transformed into a happy, loving companion, one who never left Lisa's side. The bond they had formed was unbreakable. Lisa had saved Oliver, but in many ways, Oliver had saved her too. He reminded her of resilience, of the power of kindness, and of the extraordinary things that can happen when you choose to care. And so, a once-forgotten soul became a beloved family member, proving that no matter how dark the past, there's always a chance for a brighter future. Because sometimes all it takes to change a life is a little bit of love.